Welcome to Trendy Flix, your ultimate destination for the latest in movies, TV shows, and streaming trends. Subscribe now and stay ahead of the entertainment curve.
How Indiana Fever could improve in 2025. Keep Kelsey Mitchell. Find depth, a consistent 4. Indianapolis, the Indiana Fever are coming off a landmark season, one that could be the beginning of something special. The Fever went 20-20 and made the playoffs for the first time since 2016, grabbing the number 6 seed. They bowed out of the playoffs to the more experienced Connecticut Sun in the first round, but there's a lot of optimism around the franchise with young cornerstones like Caitlin Clark and Aaliyah Boston. But to take the next step, the Fever will need to make some moves. Here are 4 things they could do to improve in 2025. This should be priority number 1 for the Fever. Mitchell has spent all 7 of her WNBA seasons with the Fever, through the many lows and now surging highs. She signed a 3-year extension following her rookie contract, which expired following the 2024 season. Mitchell was the Fever's second leading scorer by 2 total points, averaging 19.2 points per game. She was the consistent threat the Fever needed, as evidenced by her 7 straight 20-plus point games coming out of the Olympic break. She's been a staple here, and we want her here, Coach Christy Side said. She's a Hall of Fame player to me here. WNBA free agency. Kelsey Mitchell says Indy could be home, but she has to be selfish. Technically, Mitchell is an unrestricted free agent, and she has been mum on her plans for the future so far. But the 2-time All-Star is still eligible to be cored for 2 seasons, and that would be the best way for the Fever to ensure they are keeping her. A core designation would give the Fever exclusive negotiating rights in exchange for a base Supermax deal. The Fever can afford the Supermax, which is just under $250,000, for Mitchell, and they're the only team that can offer it to her. At most, Mitchell would likely take the 1-year deal. The WNBA's collective bargaining agreement ends after the 2025 season, and players are anticipating large salary jumps with the new CBA, so most aren't signing past 2025. But, at the very least, the Fever should be able to retain her for 1 more season to continue the backcourt duo of Mitchell and Caitlin Clark. Indiana Fever need a consistent power forward. Indiana struggled to find consistency on both ends of the floor at the power forward position this season. Nalissa Smith, who started most games, was not a big defensive threat, and her minutes dwindled as the season continued. Temi Fagbenel was a consistent defensive threat and decent scorer but suffered 3 injuries, shoulder, thumb, foot, that kept her out for nearly half the season. She ended up only playing 22 of the Fever's 40 regular season games, limiting her ability to make an impact in the rotation. When it comes to finding a consistent player at the 4, Fagbenel, a restricted free agent, could definitely be that person, if she decides to return to the Fever and can stay healthy. There are also multiple free agents available that could fit that bill, including a former Fever player. Natasha Howard was a 2014 Fever draft pick, playing 2 years in a reserve role before going to the Minnesota Lynx in a sign-and trade. Since then, Howard had a meteoric rise to become one of the best power forwards in the WNBA, becoming the 2019 Defensive Player of the Year and winning 3 WNBA championships between her time on the Lynx and Seattle Storm. Howard, who missed 6 weeks with an injury in 2024, averaged 17.6 points and 6.7 rebounds per game in 27 games for the Dallas Wings. She has already been cored the maximum number of seasons, announced her departure from the Wings, where she has played for the past 2 years, in a post on X shortly after the regular